I want to show you something. This is 1970, Tacoma Washington Union Station. And I just want to point out that it looks like a World's Fair building, especially up here. I thank you for being here this week. God bless and welcome. And now let's jump over to Tacoma, Washington. So beautiful. Look at this mountain. And this is not only the west, but the far northwest, on the way to Alaska. Very westy. Very westy. Western town at its finest, and I thought we would have a little look. Here we can see City Hall in Tacoma, Washington in 1890. Wow. Just wow. 1890. And this narrative is somewhat similar to Salt Lake City. Even worse, actually. Worse in the favor of history being a bunch of BS. This is just unbelievable, what we're seeing in this picture. It's so ridiculous because they don't get the ball rolling until 1865 in this town. So here we're looking at 1890. So in less than 30 years, they've thrown this up, and it looks abandoned. Windows are missing. The building looks crooked, like some towers of Bologna. I mean, really. We have mud flooding going on. Someone has laid boards down, it looks like, but really looking old and seasoned, not a brand new 30-year-old town. And we have discussed several buildings in Tacoma, like this Stadium High School. Yes, this is a high school with several more stories on the backside going down, and a giant amphitheater, hence why they call it Stadium High School. Castle Amphitheater, Tacoma, Washington. But never have we discussed the whole city, and I thought we would do that today. In a snapshot, of course, as much as time permits. So originally it starts with the Puyallup tribe, and then Lieutenant Charles Wilkes of the U.S. Navy starts a survey in this area, 1841. Then a Swede named Nicholas Dellin built a sawmill in 1852. Okay, 1852, a sawmill. So 1852, we're really getting off to a slow start. Again, this photo is 1890. There was a small community around the area, but the settlers evacuated during the Indian War of 1855 and 56. Okay, so all progress lost in this one year. In 1864, Army veteran Job Carr, his name, Job Carr, spotted a small lagoon. He hoped to build a city there. Okay, so we just have a dream. And then in 1868, developer Morton McCarver starts to get things rolling. So Carr sold most of his claim to McCarver, who plotted Tacoma City. Boom. So 1868. Again, this photo is in 1890, we're told. This is just a little small part of the city. Here we see Ghirardelli chocolate. So Ghirardelli has moved in already in 1890. But when we look at the history, 1868, 20 years before this picture, they haven't even started. So this is a 20-year city. This baby boomed in 20 years. Not only did they build all of this in 20 years, but it fell into ruin in the same 20 years. Windows busted out up here, just weathered, mud flooded. So in 1873, McCarver's efforts finally bore fruit and the Northern Pacific Railroad chose this bay as the terminus for the transcontinental line from Minnesota to Puget Sound. In November of 1875, the territorial legislature passed a law incorporating McCarver's Tacoma City, which had already been incorporated once before by the Pierce County Commissioners a year and a half earlier. So unbelievable. This tops Salt Lake City. In 1883, the transcontinental link was complete, and Tacoma had a population of up to 4,000 people. The population grew from 1,000 in 1880, 1,098 to be precise, they tell us, in 1880 to 36,000 in 1890. So in 10 years, they have 36,000 people. And in 20 years, they've built the whole city. Again, we see this picture in 1890. The slowest start ever. I mean, really not doing anything substantial, according to the narrative, until 1870 or so. And here we can see the Union Station in Tacoma, Washington. Really impressive roof. And here, just a little look at the condition of the city. Look at this. So beautiful and in ruins. All of this is just overgrown. The old photos are old wasteland photos. The old tech that we'd never see again. Look at it just lining the streets. This is horse and buggy time. Here I think we can see a little ghost of a horse and buggy. I think these are some people here, but the town is in absolute ruins. Busted windows, just unkept and seasoned and old. Tech up here. And then here we have mysterious Chinese tunnels in Tacoma, Washington. Here we go. Everything in ruins. Checkerboard floor and ruins. And Chinese tunnels. Just always blaming it on the Chinese. And no doubt, I've been told several times to look into the Tacoma Underground. And here we see an old castle in absolute ruins, all busted up. I think this is the Stadium High School. And we see train tracks going across an old bridge. Just fascinating. And this could have been repurposed into a prison or anything, but they turned it into a high school. A lot of comments left in my videos about people that went to Stadium High. And there are secret underground forbidden floors. Here we can see a theater in Tacoma. I mean, just looking awkward, like part of the building is missing. But what is left is just unbelievable. I mean, this could be in Venice or anywhere. And I think that's what we're going to find. And we know we do find such things in every city. So I'll leave it there for now, and we'll try to look at something else. So this next place is a place that I hope to visit soon. It's about 5 hours away from my house, to the east and to the north. I discussed it once in a video about 2 years ago. It's this one right here called Pyramids and Monuments. It's stupid, I should have had this on the thumbnail. The actual American pyramid in the middle of nowhere. Again, BFE, Wyoming. But since I talked about Denver, I put the Denver Capitol as the thumbnail. And the video did really poor to this day. Compared to the video before and after it, did not get very many views. And I showed a bunch of different angles in this video, including the only picture I could find of the underground, in which they buried. They admittedly filled in with dirt. And I just love this pyramid, and I can't wait to go out here, because it just makes no sense. They say they built it to commemorate the Ames brothers around a town called Sherman. But then the Union Pacific moved its railroad tracks further south, leaving Sherman to become a ghost town and leaving the monument to sit out in the middle of nowhere. There's not even a trace of this town. And again, the structure goes under. They filled it in. Let me show you from the Google. Here we go to Wyoming and boom. I mean, look at this. Here's I-80 up here, way up here. And I-80 is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing out here. Up to the north, you have Laramie. To the east, you would have Cheyenne over here, the bigger city. And out here, in the middle of nowhere, this monument, and not just a small, insignificant monument. I mean, just a massive pyramid. And it seems like every photo I look at doesn't do this pyramid justice. Here you can see all the dirt that they filled in. Here you can see probably what was other parts of the monument. To the west, just chunks. Probably where the entrance was. And just lame. Unappreciated in every way. Not even showing up on modern physical maps. I just purchased one, like a traveling kind of atlas. But here, the Emily Suzanne channel, the channel that I've shared many times, went out there. And she made a video, and we're going to have a look at it. So here we come upon it, approaching, and we can see how they've added dirt here, or sand or something. So here we go again, and what really caught my attention were these pictures where they were standing next to the cornerstones. So here you go, just to give a comparison, and here again, just to show you how tall the thing is. We're not even seeing the top. So I feel like everything I showed in my video originally 2 years ago is not as good as this. And I feel like there was another picture that I wanted to show you, and it's this one. So I must stress the year that this was built, now that you can see these megalithic blocks in the middle of nowhere of Wyoming. So even here in the history, they tell us the audacity of building the Transcontinental Railroad in the 1860s was today's equivalent of a mission to Mars. So even they admit impossible. Big, expensive, and impossible. So much truth revealed in these 3 lines. They authorized the construction in 1875. The Norcross brothers of Massachusetts built the monument, employing 85 workers who lived on site. So again, I live not far from here. This is so cold and remote again, especially in this time period, 1875. Workers cut the stone for the pyramid from a granite outcropping in the area, then used oxen teams to skid the stone a half-mile to the work site. Some of the blocks of granite weighed several tons. Here we go. So they skid these blocks for a mile, or half a mile, carved them out, skid them with oxen, and for nothing, 300 feet. In 1882, people were allowed to go up on the top and perch and could view the surrounding area for 100 miles in all direction. In 1885, they discovered that the Union Pacific had accidentally built the monument in the wrong place. They built it on a homesteader lot. So this guy, William Murphy, just bought the homesteader lot that contained the monument. Oh, just like that. He had planned on covering the pyramid with advertising. That's it. He was going to turn it into a billboard. So here's the truth. Here's the guy who really just inherited this, and everything else is a backstory. The Union Pacific fought and eventually purchased the property from this guy, obtaining a special deed to the property in 1889, frustrating this man and bankrupting him through legal proceeds. Just stupid, but absolutely fascinating. Again, a place I look forward to personally exploring, but couldn't resist sharing it once again. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts. Is it possible to drag 2-ton blocks across the high desert plains? I love this. I've always wanted to make a video on this. Forgive me, in my last video, I was told the language I thought was German was Pidgin English, something like that. This thing is just mind-blowing. Let me show you what it looks like since I'm here. Here she is, but this still doesn't do it justice. I wish I could find a better one like this. It's still not doing it justice. Unbelievable monument in Leipzig, Germany. Love it. Worthy of an entire video. The largest monument in Europe. A monument dedicated to the Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of Nations. It was completed in 1913 for the 100th anniversary of the battle. Are you kidding me? 1913, this mind blower. And for what? Just a monument? I mean, people are hungry in 1913, really just trying to survive. We're not pissing money away on monuments commemorating old battles. I mean, somebody built it, but I don't believe this story. The monument commemorates the defeat of Napoleon's French army at Leipzig. It's 300 feet tall, has 500 steps, and is just absolutely beautiful, inside and outside. But I don't want to get too off topic. I recently watched a 1-hour YouTube video on broccoli and all the studies that have been done, thousands of studies. It seems like broccoli is a miracle food. Some kind of sulforatame or some compound found within it. So I've suddenly increased my broccoli intake. This was some little random thing I was researching. Not so random. I discussed this company, La Maison Carré or Carré, which would be square. I don't know which one it is. And we were looking at the manhole covers with all the star fortage and maps, or at least what I hypothesized to be maps. And it came up with this Maison Carré, or the just company in general. And here was a little 1870 showcase of some things that they sell. So you could actually buy a whole greenhouse, or a little bridge, or a little bandstand with tech. All kinds of tech, actually. And then just chairs and other metal items. And apparently they're still in business. So that's all I've got this week. I thank you for joining me. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you soon.